Welcome to the 149th episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast.
So unusually paranormal.
My name is Jason Knight, host of the show, and with me, as always, is
The venerable Oscar Spector.
that was my drum roll. Did you hear it?
Oh, I thought you
Produce-
fell or you had your old bones creaked weird and it hit the table. I don't know.
No, it was my poor attempt at a drum roll. Producer extraordinaire, podcast co-host. Listeners, if you would like to skip this lovely intro, please go to the show notes. There'll be a timestamp there waiting for you to get you right to the topic. Oscar.
Although before you skip, though, I would say stay for this particular intro.
Yeah, we have some business to take care of, some business.
Just saying, in case hopefully they didn't skip yet. What were you gonna say? It's possible they just did it off the menu.
They probably did. Yeah, they're going to miss this whole important announcement. So obviously we're releasing this a day late. Listeners, I sincerely apologize. In 4 or 5 years since we've been doing this, I've never missed a release ever. Even if I'm on the road, on vacation, it always came out.
Yes.
I think the one time something happened was when we switched hosting companies and there was some technical glitch and it was like a week that we couldn't publish. So we were off by like a week, but in normal times, never missed a fucking episode ever, except for this time. And I was so panicked. I was physically ill because this happened.
I believe it.
And then it dawned on me. I can't keep up. We can't keep up with this every 2-week release. It just, our lives have gone in such directions where there's just not enough time to, in some months, release 4 episodes, considering main feed and Patreon, up to the standard that we like to release shows with that in-depth research, multi-part shows. It's becoming incredibly difficult. I don't want to stop. We're not going to stop. But for the time being, we're going to a 1-month release schedule.
Yes.
To kind of see how things go. We may come back to bi-weekly releases eventually in the future, but for now, we're going to 1 episode a month. We're going to keep up with our Patreon. It's going to be a lot easier for us to handle and continue to bring you the type of episodes that you know and love us for. So that's my announcement. A little sad, but it's got to be done. I don't want to just slap shit together just to release. That's just not what we do. So,
yeah, it's been a crazy time, and along with that, is that my life is kind of changing a bit. So, I mean, it could be also, I don't know yet, but a very good chance of that happening. And it'll change for the better, but for the busier as well. It's coming up very soon. So like, if that does turn out the way I hope it does turn out, that means I'm going to be very similarly both. And then not like you, because you work like a madman. I won't be working quite like you. No one works like you, really. But definitely closer to you. So yeah, it'll be harder for sure. And and also like holidays are coming. It's like winter is coming, right?
That's right. It certainly feels like that when the holidays start coming around. Gear up. The war is about to begin.
Right.
Holidays are upon us.
And especially with all the shipping problems in the world.
Yeah.
You hopefully you ordered all that already, guys, because it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
Order in November. Order in November. Definitely this month.
That's right.
Like today.
We've started. Pause this episode and go get them gifts for your kids and loved ones. Go.
Yes, now. Because you're not going to maybe really late. I still had some stuff that came in late, like weeks late last year. Jeez. Yeah, it came in. It wasn't for like anything, but it was like one thing, but it was still like, come on, that sucked.
It does.
But otherwise, how you been?
Been okay. Just, nothing really new with me over the past quite a few episodes. Work all day long.
I mean, there is something that you're forgetting.
I'm forgetting?
Yes. Since our last show, we went through All Hallows Eve, and you had a thing going. I told you I had something. you had a thing at your place, and I was there. So how was that?
It turned out to be a lot of fun. I think we had like altogether probably 30 people show up.
Yeah, in and out. It wasn't like calling once, but
Yeah, in and out. We drank, we had food, handed out tons of candy. The front yard looked great with all the decorations. I think our girl who handles our social media accounts, I think she put up some video of our front yard and the kids and stuff. But it was a great time.
It wasn't you singing that Italian song, was it? It wasn't you saying pizza pie and shit, right? It wasn't that, right? Because because I was next to you in that one. And
no, I won't let her put that one up.
Good.
But apparently there's video floating around somewhere from what I hear.
Yeah. These are the reasons why I really never want to be big. I don't want that being unearthed. No.
Oh, wouldn't that be funny?
No. Terrible. Sounds terrible.
Like, here's your big break. You're making it to the big time in the podcasting world. Wait a minute. What is this? A pizza pie? That's a little racist. You can't say that. Now your dreams are crushed. Yeah,
nope, you're Italian.
I can say that.
No, but it was just embarrassing. Normally drunk and embarrassing because you were drunk. I haven't seen you drunk in a while.
I was feeling.
It's been a minute.
I was feeling good. It was a great time having everyone together. Some friends that I haven't seen in a long time showed up, and it was great. It was great.
Yes, and I wore my what was it? Plague Doctor.
Plague Doctor. That's right.
That was fun. I couldn't keep the mask on though. Yeah.
No, you're just like my kids. We spend this money on the Halloween costume, then they go out trick or treating and they take the goddamn mask off.
Well, the difference is that I paid for my own mask, so they didn't.
That's true.
No, you just can't wear. I'm a guy. Everyone out there should know, if you don't know already, I need glasses to see, and that mask kind of prohibits that. As a matter of fact, all masks are kind of prohibited for me. Should be, but that mask was so cool that I had to bring it.
It was very nice, like real leather, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I remember it was still daytime. My wife looked up and she saw this guy walking down the street. She's like, "Jay, look at this fucking weirdo walking down the street." She goes, "Who is that?" I go, "I don't know." She goes, if that's not Oscar, we should call the police." And it wound up being you.
Why would you call the police on me? How do I look creepy?
Oh, just the way you were walking with that big plague doctor's mask. You had the cane. Tapping down the street. It looked creepy.
Yeah, I had the Neo coat. That coat's old.
And the trench
20
coat.
Years old.
Yeah, it was a great costume. Me, I was just a big giant glass of beer.
Yeah, you were.
Because that's the kind of suits you get for fat guys.
You were like one of those Simpsons characters. You know how they have a Duff World? One of
those,
the
Duff Man, yeah.
No, not the Duff Man. There's like one of like those like side characters in the Duff World universe where like they're all like glasses of beer, but they're all called something else like Swirly or Drunky or Meanie. You're like one of those. Yeah.
Some janky off-brand beer. Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Well, I really thought your costume said Duff or was going to say something like Duff, but it didn't. It was just more normal.
It was totally generic. I didn't even think of Duff. I should have thought of that. That would have been cool for sure.
Yeah. And then obviously the Jello shots. That was good.
Yeah, handing Jello shots out to the parents. We went through a ton of Jello shots. I think Katie made over 100 Jello shots. And we went through them all.
Not surprised.
Now, granted, we had a bunch ourselves, but hey, you know.
Oh, yeah, we did. I had like 2 myself, and that was just probably the lowest one. Everyone else got like 5. Yeah.
And, you know, people would come by and be like, "Oh, we remember you guys from last year. We made it a point to stop by, see what you guys were up to this time." So that's cool. It's neighborhood, it's camaraderie, it's togetherness.
It's
catching on. Yeah, man. So you're right. That did happen. That was a lot of fun.
Otherwise, it's been pretty normal, you know, like the same old kind of scenario where we don't want to have to explain work or living, trying to relax here and there. On my end, I mean, it could be some fun stuff coming up, but as far as like on me, nothing else really. Just watching a lot of stuff, playing with the girls as usual. Nothing really to report. Nothing supernatural, definitely to report. Yeah. And that's
I might have something on that front, on the supernatural front, but I'll get to that at the very end of this episode.
At the very end?
Yeah, I'm gonna make you guys wait for it.
What kind of fucking tease is that, bro? The hell?
So, but yeah. So, that's about it, right?
Yes.
Contact info.
I guess so.
You seem so reluctant.
No, yeah, let's do it. I just hate the fucking phone number.
The easiest way to contact the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is by what? By visiting our website, chicagoghostpodcast.com. From chicagoghostpodcast.com, you'll get to all of our social sites, including Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, Patreon. In case you don't know, we are on Patreon with a full library of episodes that have never been heard before on this public podcast feed. If you join our Patreon for just $5 a month, you have access to that library of exclusive content. Go to patreon.com/supernatural occurrence studies podcast, or just click the Patreon link in this episode show notes. It'll get you right to us.
You look like a game show host.
When I'm doing the motion.
Yeah, you're like an orca or conductor.
So there we go. I'm going to conduct all the listeners to go to the website and check out our new merch shop. We got tons of really cool merchandise up there, including a brand new esoteric collection of goods that have some pretty radical designs that I dare you to try to figure out what they mean. They actually mean something. So head over to our merchandise shop and support your show. Get some Halloween gift or Christmas gifts.
Wow.
Get some esoteric Christmas gifts for your loved one and help support the show. Did I do okay?
I like esoteric. I like that word. It's a fun word to
nice. Say. It is. It is. It's very mysterious. And it's even more mysterious when I whisper it.
So the following portion of this introduction is actually false. It is dramatized, kind of like a documentary where they take liberties as to the real events because no one was there to take pictures. So like they have to reenact the events, right, of what happened in real life. So the following phone number is fake, but here we go.
872-529-0767. That's Chicago area code 872-529-0767. Leave us a message, send us a text. We'll read them and play them on the show.
Phone as a phone. Which reminds me of something. If you were to signal to someone, let's say wordlessly, to call you or call them or signal that you want to make a phone call, how would you do it with your hands?
I would I would cross my forearms in front of my face like a great big X. That's what I would do. No,
that's not true. You know what I mean? The universal symbol that I think you're trying to avoid is doing this, right? Right? That's what that is, right? That's you making a phone call, right?
You do that? Yes.
Right? You know what I'm doing, right?
Oh, the thumb and the pinky to your ear and mouth.
Right. The receiver, right? And the
mouthpiece, right?
Yeah, the mouthpiece. Yeah, you guys want to know what's going on. And have you been watching those things of how the kids do it now?
No.
Because they grew up not with this. So they do this.
Oh, I want to slap them all.
They do this now.
So they just kind of put their palm to their face.
I don't have to explain what I'm doing. Everyone who listening to us knows exactly what I'm saying. They do this like they're holding an iPhone because they forever, their entire lives, they've gotten used to only this, never this. This has never been a phone for them.
I never noticed that, but oh my God.
If you ask, you can ask your kids, I'm sure maybe I think Talia might like, what is this? You mean this?
Oh God.
You might. I mean, she's that age.
We're old, brother.
Yep.
Before we go to break, we did receive a text speaking about the phone number.
Oh, wow, really?
We did receive a text from my cousin, Shelly. She says she's a friend of the show, longtime listener. She just wanted to compliment and give us props for the content warning on the Aokigahara forest episode. When we talked about the content warning. Go back and listen to it. Yes. So she sent us props for that. And she's a tough girl to please. So that I told her, I promise I'm gonna read that on the show. So thank you, Shelly. I thought it was the right thing to do. Put the content warning, that is. Oh boy. How about we go to break?
Yeah, let's do that. I think we need it.
3, 2. Listeners, welcome back to the show. Well, the lights are turned down low, the ceremonial candle is lit, and the drinks are flowing. Let's start this show. In case you skipped our lovely intro, I just want to make mention that the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is changing its release format. We're going monthly. So starting in December, we'll be releasing one main feed episode per month. And that's to continue bringing good, solid content to our listeners. It's good for our schedules.
Yes.
Okay? All right. With that out of the way. So I don't know if you remember, Oscar, but all the way back in episode 6, when we were, I know, brand new to podcasting and we had no idea what we were doing.
I can't even remember the last time I thought of the number 6.
I know, right? In episode 6, we covered 2 topics, the Charlie Challenge and the Ouija board.
The Luigi board?
No, the Ouija board.
Oh, okay.
In episode 6, we gave some history on both the Charlie Challenge and the Ouija board, and we attempted to do both live on the show. Now, looking back, the history portion, the backstory portion, especially concerning the Ouija board, in my opinion, it wasn't that good. It wasn't up to par with the level of research we do today on the show. And it's frankly something I'd like to revisit one day in the future. But it was fun talking about our own personal experiences with the Ouija board, which, by the way, were all true. And spoiler, we've never had a positive experience using the Ouija board. And the live hands-on portion of the episode was interesting. We did have a few strange things happen that night with both the Charlie Challenge and our Ouija board session. In fact, in preparation to record episode 6, I insisted we record in my garage because I didn't want to use the Ouija board in my house. I was honestly afraid of summoning something bad, and I was worried that the something would in turn infect my house and my family.
You've seen enough horror movies to know better.
Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
So we recorded that episode in my garage. And I remember it was cold that night. And as I recall it, Oscar, just like me, you also refused to be part of the Ouija board session. Do you remember that?
Yeah, my mom taught me better.
So, and I was going to ask you, why? So it's just how you were raised, stay away from stuff like that?
Yeah, well, my parents, funny enough, compared to other Hispanic or Mexican specifically, if you want to be specific, families and parents that I've met, they're nowhere near as superstitious. They're very religious, but they're not superstitious about things like that. They're science, you know.
It's
I'm not saying
science.
Science. I'm not saying they're like super into science either, but I'm just saying that it's not like to them it really would be probably just a board. But I know enough through the family in general, like why even tempt it? Why like where it's all of the worst that can happen is nothing. I mean the best thing that can happen is nothing, and the worst that can happen is insane. And there is no better version than that. Might as well just not do it. Right. Might as well not do it if the best thing is that nothing happens. You know? Like you have no gain. There's no reward. It's only risk. Only risk.
Great way to put it.
And they never said it to me that way. I don't know. Maybe they did as a kid and it just ingrained in me and the memory's gone. Maybe they did. I don't know. But I know that while I know that they do kind of believe in some supernatural stuff regarding like, I don't want to say energies. They don't say energies. They say, you know, like the remnants of things, the ghosts of things. But like they don't, they certainly didn't instill this in me, but they kind of like did by just their actions maybe. And I just kind of like attuned to it. And I just never fuck with them. Never fuck with no Ouija board. So
understood. I'm the exact same way today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to around myself, my house, my family.
Yeah.
I love the way you put it. The best thing that could happen is nothing. And the worst thing that could happen is insane.
It's insane.
Because I can tell you from firsthand experience, I've had crazy shit happen with the Ouija board. Just go back and listen to our stories in episode 6. So ultimately that night when we recorded, Joe Erie and my wife, Katie Knight, they stepped up and they did the Ouija session together. And like I said, some weird things did happen. And even my mom who's also incredibly leery of the Ouija board, she sat in on that episode too to kind of oversee the Ouija portion.
She was just trying to protect you guys, I think. It wasn't like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, just in case something bad happened.
She was the warden.
The warden, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what she would have done had Joe and Katie actually
I
contacted
feel like she had something
bad.
though. I feel like she had some sort of tannis fruit from like Rosemary's Baby ready to go, ready to fucking pop that demon or whatever. So should something we just don't know because it never happened. But I'm pretty sure she had like the spiritual equivalent of a machete or something for whatever came through.
Probably. Yeah. No, my mom, you're probably right. She's attuned to all that stuff.
Ask her. She probably is like, oh yeah, I had this crystal in my pocket the whole time. Like, oh, okay.
Got like a salt gun and
you know how people like
water.
They grip their keys so the keys come through their knuckles. So if you have to fight an attack or something, like she had the equivalent of that ready to go.
Only crystals poking to the knuckles.
Right, crystals.
I hope she's listening to this and cracking up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what she would have done if we did contact something bad or they contacted something bad. Mm-hmm. Like the entity we're going to talk about tonight. But she insisted on being there nonetheless, and we were thankful she was there for us. Mm-hmm. And after everything was said and done, and we finished recording, it was really late. And Joe Erie, he wanted to sleep over. But even before I would let him step foot into the house, I insisted he put that Ouija board back into his truck. Wouldn't let him bring it in. Mm-hmm. That's how strongly I feel about the Ouija board. I didn't want it in my house, and I sure as hell wasn't going to do it in my house. You just never know what you're going to get with these things, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little more lax than you on that specific regard, but I would never have it play in my house. I would definitely never touch it. I will never play with it. But if someone brings it in, I'm not going to like immediately kick it out. I'll make sure it goes with the person that brought it in on the way out. But like, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, what we're going to talk about tonight, this entity, if it's real, it's yet another reason why you have to be incredibly careful when attempting to contact the spirit world, especially in this case, when using the Ouija board. Mm-hmm. So tonight's episode isn't going to be a deep dive into the history of the Ouija board. I'm just going to get that out there right away, because I'm assuming everyone that listens to this podcast specifically at least knows what the Ouija board is, right? It's that popular. The mystifying oracle, the talking board. You could literally pick up a Ouija board at your local Walmart right now for $25.
And you can make your own, though. You can make your own.
This is true. Yes. And
which is actually probably worse.
And I talk about this a little bit later in the script.
Now, I think the only thing that's worse than making your own, because there's something personal about having your own, like making your own. It feels like it would imbue even worse outcomes.
It really does, especially if you take the time to carve it out of like
anything,
like an oak or like a
styrofoam, whatever it is. I'm kidding, not styrofoam, but the only thing that's worse than that is if you make the Necronomicon version of a Ouija board made out of human flesh, and the thing is made out of teeth, and the fucking letters are in blood.
Oh my God.
That would be, you should make that. This would be a movie about that. Anyway, continue.
Give it time. I'm sure there will be. But yeah, you could literally go to your local Walmart right now, buy a Ouija board for $25. And funny enough, the box says that the Ouija board is appropriate for ages 8 and up. Isn't that something? At 8 years old, you could start contacting spirits and demons.
Well, a lot of people don't believe it.
Right. Yeah. And on the back of the box, it says in bold lettering, it's only a game, isn't it? No, Hasbro. I don't think it's just a game. And you'll see why.
By Hasbro?
It is, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hasbro's like the parent company. It's some other company that actually puts out the board, but Hasbro's the parent company.
Okay.
But no, I don't think it's just a game. And you'll see why it isn't just a game here shortly. Now, and I've proven this, just to your point, Oscar, you don't need an actual Ouija board and planchette, the heart-shaped piece of plastic with a hole in it that glides around the Ouija board to do Ouija board type shit. I've made a Ouija board out of construction paper and a shot glass, and it worked. But the physical board and the planchette is the most common way people attempt to commune with the other side, especially the uninitiated, those who aren't aware of the negative consequences that could come along with using such a device. Anyone use the Ouija board at a grammar school sleepover? I know I did a bunch of times. Ever see The Exorcist? It's all fun and games until it isn't.
Mhm.
All the stories are eerily similar. You make contact with something on a Ouija board that initially poses itself as friendly, a deceased loved one, a helpful spirit guide, a child. It draws you in, builds your trust, kind of gets you addicted, and then bam, all hell
Yeah.
breaks loose.
It's really a gateway drug to paranormal malfeasance, paranormal sinning or repercussions, right? Because like it's like if like you buy drugs from a drug dealer for the first time in some seedy park, but like if something really bad happens to you on the first time, kind of like a Ouija board session,
You never go back.
immediately, right? You never go back, or that guy mugs you and kills you right then and there, the equivalent of drug buying, or you get caught by the cops right away. Someone catches you and you get arrested. It's like that. Like you're it's a gateway drug. It's like the smallest, like the way you would start entering the criminal world is the same way you would start entering the paranormal world, right?
With heroin or Ouija board,
Right, exactly. Or
But-
Molly.
or Molly. Sure, throw some Molly in there too.
Yeah.
Some Zim Zams and Flim Flams. I'll take it all.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. But yeah, it draws you in, gets you addicted. It pretends it's your friend. It answers questions. Then all of a sudden, boom, all hell breaks loose. Suddenly shit's going crazy in your home. You're seeing things, hearing things, having nightmares, paranoia.
Yep.
Some people even claim that they've become possessed by whatever they conjured up on the Ouija board. Demons, evil spirits, negative energy, call it what you like. These things are incredibly hard to get rid of once they get a hold of someone, which is why you really have to be careful when you place your fingers on that planchette and begin to ask questions. You just don't know what you're going to get, and the consequences could be dire. You could take a page from my book and just not do it, or you could run the risk of using the Ouija board and accidentally making contact with a relatively new, frightening phenomenon called Zozo, or the Zozo demon, or the Ouija board demon. Now, really quick, I just want to stop right here. The Ouija board for me has always been a negative thing. I've never had a good encounter with the Ouija board, but just on the flip side, there's people out there who use the damn thing every single day, and they say it's the most wonderful, positive thing in the world. It helps them in their daily lives. It helps them meditate and focus. There's two sides of this coin. My personal experience is it's bad. Stay the fuck away from it. But there is an opposite side to that coin. I just wanted to mention that. All right, because I'm sure I'm going to piss some people out, piss people off out there who have had positive experiences. I never did. So that's my angle, right?
Well, what's a positive version of it? Is it like giving you the investment investment predictions or something?
I can't say 100% because it's never happened to me, but maybe they do.
I've never heard of a positive one.
Maybe they do.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I've definitely have never seen one. Definitely have never read about one. Definitely have never heard of someone who's read about one. I guess until now, you just tell me now.
Sure, you could read up on the Ouija board online, and there's forums, people saying it's the greatest tool in the world.
Got it.
But for me, it never has been. So that's the angle I'm coming at this, because it's my personal experience, right?
Right.
I just wanted to get that out there. Now, Zozo, as I said, is a relatively new phenomenon, but that doesn't make the idea of Zozo, if real, any less terrifying. And I should clarify, by relatively new, I mean in popularity, or more like notoriety. We're talking 2009 when Zozo appeared on scene, first on a message board, and then in a 2016 book. And in between 2009 and 2016, and since, the internet has taken over, as it does. And suddenly Zozo is everywhere, wreaking havoc on Ouija board users. Think Slenderman, right? Something born on the internet and for all intents and purposes becomes quote unquote real over time. That's kind of how Zozo is. However, I do want to mention that I found reference to Zozo as far back as over 500 years ago, way before a book was written about him, and obviously way before the internet was even a twinkle in someone's dream, which to me is a huge difference between Slenderman and Zozo, and something that makes this story that much more frightening. Unlike
Right.
Slenderman, Zozo's rooted in history. Now, today, Zozo could actually go by a few different names, like Zaza, Zoso, Zo, Oz, Za, or even Mama, or Abacus. Abacus actually makes an appearance in the Book of Revelation under the name Abaddon, the king of an army of locusts, or the destroyer when translated to Greek.
Yeah, some of these right away reminds me of movies. I think mentioning those things. Abaddon, I've heard. Zo, Zoso, I think sounds familiar. Zaza sounds familiar. Yeah, I
So
can't
there's a really
remember, but yeah.
there's a really funny story with Zoso, Zoso,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't really write into the script, but we could talk about it later if you want.
No.
But Zozo has even been described as the simplified name for Pazuzu, the ancient Mesopotamian king of the wind demons, and Captain Howdy's true identity in the movie The Exorcist.
Right.
You could clearly see the multiple Z's in the name, right? Zozo, Pazuzu. And it's the common use of the letter Z when the entity names itself on the Ouija board that gives rise to yet another name for this thing, the Z entity. Most commonly, though, when using the Ouija board, it's Zozo, Z-O-Z-O, that comes through. And you'll know you got them when the planchette moves back and forth between the letters Z and O. Z-O, 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 Z-O.
Yeah.
If this happens, strap in because you're in for a hell of a ride. Now, the unique thing about Zozo is that he overwhelmingly seems to be a Ouija board-based entity. There are tons of stories from all over the world of people using the Ouija board and coming into contact with Zozo. There are even isolated reports that Zozo has made an appearance while people were under hypnosis, or they were meditating or attempting automatic writing, in altered states of mind, in other words. It's said that even merely mentioning his name, Zozo, or even thinking about him, draws the demon's attention. So it's strongly advised not to even speak or think about him, because this is a nasty entity. As the stories go, once contacted, the Zozo entity will be a kind or even friendly spirit, answering questions, solving problems, winning an unsuspecting victim's trust. And then all of a sudden, his real intentions manifest. And that's when Zozo jumps off the Ouija board and infects a person's life. In the most extreme cases, it's said that Zozo can possess a person or attach himself to someone for years, slowly driving his victim mad. Somewhat milder, but just as terrifying manifestations of Zozo can induce extreme fear or violent anger in a person, depression, dark thoughts, sleeplessness, anxiety, paranoia, sleepwalking, strange marks appearing on your body. All of these are side effects of coming into contact with Zozo, the Ouija board demon. He could appear as a menacing shadow figure. He can move objects, and he feeds on fear. The more afraid Zozo's victim is, the stronger he becomes. And if this isn't bad enough, it's believed that Zozo tries to specifically target those who already suffer from some sort of psychological disorder, suicidal tendencies, depression, stuff like that, which to me makes this thing a predator, a dark, ancient predator whose only goal is to harass and thoroughly torment his victims. A predator that could have always been, but started using Ouija boards to more easily reach into our world back when Ouija boards became popular during the spiritualist movement in the 1840s. And ever since, Zozo has been there, waiting for someone to pick up a Ouija board and whisper the dangerously vague incantation, Ouija board, please send me a spirit. Now, we all know it's a toss-up as to whether or not Zozo is real. You either believe or you don't. Me, I honestly do believe that you could pick up some pretty negative stuff when using the Ouija board. I think I've made that clear. That's why I refuse to do it anymore. Could there be a Ouija board specific entity out there? Maybe. Lots of people think so.
Maybe like it's like the preferred method of like communication. Like you think of like oh, I do you have WhatsApp? I rather not use Facebook Instant Messenger. you know, like Zozo's like, oh no, I really don't know how to use the thought train. I can't do that. I really don't know how to use port keys. No, can't do that. I really suck at that.
Portkey.
You have a Ouija board? It's like their
Could-
preferred method.
Yeah. Yeah. And they say it's like he was waiting for that ideal method to reach into our world. And boom, spiritualist movement, 1840s. Everyone's got a Ouija board. It's a cool thing to do. That was his telephone in, right? His Zoom meeting into our world, I guess.
Right, Zoom meeting is a good one.
Right. And now that we're in, 2021, it's the internet. Now he's all over the internet and he's wreaking havoc on people who use Ouija boards and then talk about them on the internet. Crazy. Creepy.
Like giving him power.
Yeah, kind of. So a lot of people think this guy exists. One person that believes Zozo is absolutely real, excuse me, is a man named Darren Evans from Oklahoma. Now, back in 2009, Darren Evans is the one who started talking about his experiences with Zozo on an online forum dedicated to true ghost stories. His posts resonated with people, and tons of stories started pouring in from people all over the world, claiming to have made contact with the very same entity, Zozo. In fact, Evan received so many stories that he created a website dedicated to them. I've left a link to that website in this episode show notes so you can read all these Zozo stories for yourself. There's a ton of them. Now, eventually, Evans took the frightening encounters he and his family suffered at the hands of Zozo, along with other people's stories and some additional research, and he published a book in 2016 called The Zozo Phenomenon. Now, as Evan's story starts out, it's like a lot of other Zozo stories. It all began on a mysterious Ouija board that Evans found in a basement. He begins playing with the board and he makes contact with what at first seems like a friendly entity. But then it slowly changed and became aggressive. When Evan asked the seemingly new entity's name, the planchette moved rapidly back and forth between the letters Z and O.
Right.
Zozo started spelling out curse words and using aggressive language. And one time it told Evans that it wanted to take his family to paradise. When Evans asked what paradise was, where it was, Zozo spelled out H-E-L-L.
Yikes.
After Zozo said he wanted to take the Evans family to paradise, paradise being hell, Evans was understandably spooked, and he immediately went to check on his wife and his 1-year-old daughter. Now, initially, his wife was nowhere to be found, but he found his baby daughter nearly drowned in an overflowing bathtub. His daughter was fine, thank God. He got there in the nick of time. But when Evans questioned his wife, just what the fuck was she thinking, leaving a 1-year-old in a full bathtub, his wife replied that she left the baby alone for just a second and that the tub wasn't anywhere close to being full, much less overflowing. When she left the bathroom, she said, for those few seconds, there was hardly any water in the tub. That's terrifying. Evans claims he was physically assaulted by Zozo and that the whole experience caused him to suffer a full-on nervous breakdown. And he and his daughter were hospitalized during the whole infernal ordeal with Zozo. Evans for that nervous breakdown, and his young daughter for this mysterious respiratory illness that no one could figure out.
Wow.
Evans believes his daughter's ailments were brought on by Zozo. He's going to take him to paradise. So the modern stories of Zozo, modern being since 2009, can be traced back to Darren Evans, his post on a ghost message board in 2009, his book in 2016, and the internet jumping in on it and the Zozo story in between those years. And the stories continue on the internet to this day. Just YouTube the word Zozo.
Right.
There was even a 2012 movie dedicated to the Zozo story called Am Zozo. It starred Courtney Foxworthy, Kelly McLaren, and Demetrius Sager.
I don't know any of those names.
Yeah, I don't know who they are either. Honestly.
Oh, okay. I thought it sounded like you knew them. Like, wow.
I was setting up a joke.
before my time. I'm like, no, who are these people?
Honestly, I've never seen the movie, but it has a whopping 31% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes and 3.3 stars out of 10 on IMDb. I probably won't watch this movie anytime soon.
Yeah, those true life based on something legendary movies have really sucked, don't they?
They tend to be horrible.
Yeah, they tend to be pretty bad.
Now, the strange thing is, historically, Zozo can be traced back hundreds of years. He's mentioned by name in a book published in the year 1816 called Dictionnaire Infernal, the Infernal Dictionary.
Ooh,
yeah,
cool.
Right? By French occultist, demonologist, and author Jacques Collin de Plancy. In Dictionnaire Infernal, de Plancy recounts a story of a young woman in the Picardy region in France who became possessed by 3 devils or demons. The demons were named Mimi, sometimes translated as Mama, Capulet, and Zozo. The 3 devils forced this poor woman to walk down the street on all fours, forwards, backwards, and sometimes straight up on her hands, feet high in the air. The girl claimed that Mimi would push her forward, Zozo would pull her backwards, and Capulet would have a good old time holding the woman's legs high in the air. And all 3 together, the demons would contort the poor woman's body in these unnatural positions. It's explained in Dictionnaire Infernal that when an exorcism was performed on the demon-besieged woman, when Zozo was cast out, windows in the church where the exorcism took place exploded. It's pretty creepy, and that story is over 200 years old. Another instance of the Zozo demon predating Darren Evans and the mention in Dictionnaire Infernal was an offhanded reference I ran into in a single article, which briefly mentioned Saint Bernardino of Siena, making reference to something called the Mass of Zozo. Now, I thought this was really interesting because if this article was right, and Saint Bernardino, the Apostle of Italy, did in fact mention Zozo, that would place his mention of this specific demon somewhere in the mid 1440s, well over 500 years before Zozo became popular online. Now, really quick, in case you don't know, Saint Bernardino was canonized a Roman Catholic saint in the year 1450, about 6 years after he died. And he's venerated as the patron saint of advertising, communications, compulsive gambling, and respiratory problems.
Like that one.
Right?
At the end there. Wow. Okay.
Now, St. Bernardino's preaching style was incredibly popular as he did it publicly instead of in hushed tones inside of a church during Mass.
Interesting.
And his public sermons were mainly directed against sorcery, witchcraft, infanticide, gambling, usury, and homosexuality in Jews. Hey, it was a different time. Different time. But he really is an interesting historical figure. So when I read that Bernardino made a mention of Zozo over 500 years ago, I had to find out if it was true. Now, it took me quite a while, but I found it. I found Bernardino's mention of Zozo. It was in the 28th volume of the Month in Catholic Review, published in 1876. Now, this is a 533-page read, and within it is a section called The Contemporaries of Saint Bernadine. Bernardino, Bernadine, they use the names interchangeably for this saint. It's called Contemporaries of Saint Bernadine. A section that is mainly concerned with exploring Bernadine's outlook on idolatry, divination, superstitions, and gambling, and how demons are involved in all of these vices to help destroy man's spirit and to separate him from God. And a good portion of this section on St. Bernardino specifically focuses on the evils of gambling. And oh man, St. Bernardino fucking hated gambling, man.
Yeah, man. When you have a passion to hate, you gotta go for it.
You gotta go for it with gusto. Now, it's in a section that vividly describes the evils of gambling that the mention of Zozo comes in. Bernardino does this amazing job describing what he calls churches of the malignant. How fucking cool is that? Churches,
That's cool.
That's metal. or what I take in today's language to be gambling dens. Okay. Bernardino explains that just as God has his church on earth with its masses, rituals, and leaders, so does Lucifer. And Lucifer's malignant churches parallel the Catholic Church in every way, only in opposite and against the Catholic Church. Okay? Bernardino explained, as God established his church on earth with our Pope as the supreme pontiff, so did Lucifer, who established himself as the supreme pontiff. Opposite. It's the same, but opposite, right?
Right.
Instead of our Catholic cardinals, Lucifer placed into position magistrates and city officers and rulers who had the power to grant exemptions and licenses in favor of blasphemers and evildoers, and who could approve, defend, and leave unpunished those who commit wicked deeds. Owners of gambling dens and taverns are Lucifer's bishops, and the dens and taverns themselves are the churches, their filthy rooms, the altars. Purifying holy incense becomes the sweet smell of cooked meat, meant to lure sinners with the promise of gluttony, which leads to other vices, like gambling, contained within these malignant churches. According to Bernardino, unlike the Catholic Church, where next to every altar there's a receptacle containing holy oils, next to the altars in malignant churches, there are receptacles that hold dice. On and on Bernardino goes, making these shocking comparisons, the Catholic Church versus Lucifer's malignant churches, his dens of vice. It's when Bernardino juxtaposes the Holy Catholic Mass against Lucifer's infernal mass that Zozo is mentioned. It's only a brief statement, but I think it's a powerful statement. Now, Bernardino sets up Zozo by first mentioning that the demons that preside over the infernal mass in the malignant churches are named after various throws of the dice. Remember, this whole thing is about the evils of gambling. He's trying to steer people that he's publicly speaking to away from the sin of gambling.
Yeah.
He says the demons are named Testa, Sabotaglio, Sabaraglio, Sequenta, Spagnolio Reverso, names like that. Immediately after calling out these demons by name, by names of dice throws, Bernardino says, quote, the Mass of Zozo is to be the commune omnium demonium, or the Mass of Zozo is to commune with all demons. Now, for me, when Bernardino mentions that Zozo's Mass is a communion with all demons, the question I immediately had was, is Bernardino saying that Zozo isn't one, but he's many? I'm guessing here, of course, but can this be the reason why Zozo is found wherever there's a Ouija board? Because he isn't one, he's a legion. Okay. So again, it seems that there's some weight behind this Zozo thing. And I got to tell you, finding the historical references to Zozo wasn't an easy task, especially the St. Bernardino reference. I spent a lot of time purposely searching for that. In other words, I don't think Darren Evans just stumbled upon St. Bernardino's story back in 2009, read the word Zozo and said, oh yeah, I'm going to use that to get famous and scare the shit out of people. I don't think it went down like that.
Right.
But that begs the question, what then is Zozo? And of course, I don't know. Thankfully, I never ran into him when I used to use the Ouija board back in my careless days.
Right.
But if you
lucky.
Very lucky. But if you do run into this thing, there are some rules you should follow to protect yourself. First and foremost, don't show fear of Zozo. Remember, he feeds off of your fear. The more you're afraid, the stronger he becomes. If you run into Zozo during a Ouija board session, stay calm and immediately and firmly announce that you want to end the Ouija board session and then move the planchette to goodbye. Right. This should effectively close the session and sever ties with Zozo. Once you properly end the session, wrap the planchette and the Ouija board separately in cloth and store them both away, separately if possible. If you have to store them together, like in a box, the cloth wrapping ensures the planchette and Ouija board will not touch one another, eliminating the possibility of accidentally forming a new connection without you knowing about it.
Right.
Some people even go so far as to sprinkle holy water or rose water over the board and planchette, or allowing burning sage smoke to wash over the items before wrapping and storing the board and the planchette. With this stuff, a little extra precaution never hurts, right? Once the board and the planchette are properly stored, you could cleanse the area where you were using the Ouija board, where you made contact. Most people burn sage to cleanse, but you could lay sea salt down in the area and leave it sit for a few days too. Also, reciting a prayer won't hurt. An Our Father or a Hail Mary should help with the cleansing. Once all this is complete, leave the board alone for a while. Don't use it. Rules aren't too specific about how long you should leave it alone, but the idea is
Like a decade.
never. The idea is the longer the board sits unused, the weaker any lingering spiritual connections become until they're gone completely. Now, if you feel the need to totally get rid of your Ouija board, like Zozo freaked you out so much that you absolutely do not want that board in your home, one thing you could do is give the board away. Giving the board away is supposed to immediately sever the connection you had with a hostile spirit like Zozo, and instead the spirit will become attached to the board's new owner. Kind of a dick move, but hey, better you than me. Better you than me.
Seems like a very anti-housewarming gift.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
Others say that the Ouija board and planchette should be wrapped separately in cloth, placed into a hole, covered completely with sea salt, and buried. But whatever you do not burn, cut up, or break up the board. Doing this is supposed to immediately release the negative spirit into the environment, and you don't want that, especially with Zozo. I've even heard that throwing the damn thing into the ocean is a good way to dispose of a Ouija board. And of course, these are just some precautions you can take. Properly using a Ouija board, ending a session, and disposing of a Ouija board is kind of like building a house. There are many different ways to do it.
Right.
Now, before I close, there is something that happened to me while I was researching and scripting this episode.
Oh, this is the thing, right?
This is the thing. It was just 2 nights ago, around 2 a.m. I had just found the St. Bernardino Zozo reference, and I was totally absorbed in the story, as told in that month in Catholic Review from volume 28 I mentioned a little earlier, right? I was reading about Lucifer and demons and the malignant churches, and of course, Zozo, when all of a sudden I get an alert on my phone that movement was detected in my garage. Now, again, it's 2 a.m, and inside my garage is pitch black. I have a Blink camera mounted out there in the garage, and something triggered that camera. And that was the message I received on my phone, right?
Right.
Sure enough, I checked the recording, and there's this weird little orb that appears out of nowhere. It kind of starts out by the man door leading into my house, just a few feet from where I was sitting in my office reading about Zozo, actually. And it moves kind of slowly right towards my camera, and then it disappears. Now, I know what people are going to say. Orbs, whatever, probably a bug. I can tell you, it was in the 30s that night. A little warmer in my garage, sure, but it was still really cold in my garage. And inside the garage was pitch black. There's no way a bug would be around, first of all. I haven't seen any bugs since mid-October, yet alone a bug large enough to trip my camera in complete darkness. People might say, well, maybe it was a dust particle. I've been involved in the paranormal for over 20 years. I've taken thousands of photos and countless hours of video. I know what dust looks like, and this wasn't a piece of dust. Now, I'll leave a link in the show notes to this video. You guys check it out and tell us what you think. Contact at chicagoghostpodcast.com. I just found it ironic and a little more than scary that this happened, considering the subject matter I was absorbed in at that moment. Was Zozo the one that tripped my camera? After all, it said that even thinking about Zozo could draw his attention. And that night, I definitely had Zozo on the mind. And who knows, maybe I just cursed all of you by bringing Zozo to your attention while repeating his name over and over during this episode. I don't know, listeners, but if that's the case, I'm sorry.
Kind of reminds you of Lullaby there at the end.
How so?
Remember the Chuck Palahniuk book, Lullaby? If you think of the lullaby, or if you say it out loud, or you tell someone about it, they die instantly.
Yes.
Kind of,
Yes. Oh, I
kind of
love
reminds
that
me of
book.
that.
I
It's a
love
very
Chuck
cool book.
Palahniuk.
Yeah,
He's one of my favorite authors. Yeah, right. Hopefully I
yeah,
just didn't sentence all you guys to some
right.
horrible treatment by
Horrible,
a demon.
horrible weekend. Yes.
But that's Zozo, man. I mean, it's a wild story. What did it for me were the old references to this guy.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I also like the Pazuzu connection, or possible connection. Right.
Yes, yes. Pazuzu, the Z's are there. Zozo
And
shortened
I
for
mean,
Pazuzu.
it is amazingly simplified. A lot of those, when you go back to the root words or the creation to certain words or phrases or languages, like it come from such a long time ago, and they just shorten things usually, or it's whatever been passed down, oral history. Like it gets like it's like when you play a game of I forgot the name of it, but it's when like in a group of friends, like you tell one person something and that person tells the other person in their ear, and
Yeah,
then
we
by
call
the
it.
end it sounds completely different.
Yeah, we call it the
What's the
telephone
name?
game, or
Telephone game.
the Simpsons called
Yes.
it Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Sure. Yes. It's a yeah, it's right. Telephone game. I forgot the name of it. It's like that, over the centuries of languages evolving and devolving. Makes sense to me why how I mean I'm saying it's true, but I'm saying it would make sense how Pazuzu could be Zozo. You
Yeah,
know.
it does. Yeah, and if
Hmm.
that's the case, then this thing is thousands of years old.
Possibly, yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
infinite.
that's
Who
what's Pazuzu. You said what is the Mesopotamian?
Mesopotamian king of the wind demons,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
ruler
mean
of the wind demons.
that's old as shit. That's older than all current religions.
Yeah, you're right. That's some bullshit.
That's
It's
some old shit.
scary, man.
Yeah.
And then there's stories that say the boy who Reagan McNeil was based on in the movie The Exorcist, the actual
Yeah.
story, that
Right.
it was Zozo who got him. The Enfield poltergeist. Those young girls were playing with the Ouija board when all hell fucking broke loose in their house.
Yeah. Or
And
maybe
they say
maybe
it was
he's like
Zozo in that case too.
maybe he's the realtor or the travel agent for all these other entities to find and nab people. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they called me. We have another winner. Hey, date. Satan. Do you want? No, I don't want this one. Okay, let's go to the next demon. Do you want this kid? Yeah, sure. I'm not. Like
I
he's
got nothing
calling
else
out.
going on.
Right. He's like the intermediary between all other
And
religions.
and maybe that's what Bernardino was talking about when he said that when you commune the Zozo Mass, right? The Mass of Zozo, you commune with all demons when you participate in the Mass of Zozo. Maybe that's what he's doing, man. I don't know. It's a weird story.
Because if you go back far enough, the origins to a lot of these things, especially beliefs, come from one place or from one group of people, from one something. I'm not saying this is that. I'm just
Right,
saying that
right.
this could be one of those originators to a lot of other things. Right, it could be one of the original sources. I'm sure there's a further back version that we don't know about, but this is where the buck stops as far as our knowledge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to think about. Not that hopefully it's not real. I mean, hopefully it's real in a cool way, but hopefully it's not real in the sense that I don't want people possessed and fucked up. And I definitely don't want you to curse me or give me something by mentioning his name to me. But it sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's or how with the Dictionnaire Infernal, where one of so it was Zozo, and then it was also Mimi, sometimes translated to Mama, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Today, people say Zozo is represented on the Ouija board by Mama, 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 Mama. So there's a connection there too, in a way.
Yes, that's right.
Besides specifically calling out Zozo in that story, right?
And how many people thought they were just talking about someone's mom?
Right.
Right. Mom, wait. The Ouija knows that I call my mom Mama. That's crazy. In reality, right? They're saying Zozo.
It's crazy. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So I guess I should mention it because we kind of talked about it during the middle of the script there. Zozo, Zoso.
Yes.
So if you research Zozo, there's this whole theory that Led Zeppelin and Zozo are connected. Okay. If you look at the cover of Led Zeppelin 4, now that album technically doesn't have a name. It's just referred to as Led Zeppelin 4.
I think they just call it right. They just names it right like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess technically the title of the album is just a series of symbols for each member of Led Zeppelin. And Jimmy Page's symbol is this arcane, and maybe I should put a picture of this in the show notes. I got to make a mental note to do that. Jimmy Page's symbol is this arcane design that spells out Zozo, Z-O-S-O. Zozo became Zozo. Zozo became Zozo. Okay. So people are like, oh my God, Led Zeppelin and Zozo, that's the same thing. And they started this and blah, blah, blah. What it is Jimmy Page is his astrological sign, his sun sign is Capricorn. And Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. So Jimmy Page wanted to put some cool logo together to represent himself. You know, all the members of Led Zeppelin did that for Led Zeppelin 4's cover. You could go take a look at. I'll put it in the show notes. Fuck it, I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
So technically, it doesn't even spell out Zozo, or it's not supposed to spell out Zozo. When you take a sigil for Capricorn and Saturn, and you put them together, it looks like Zozo, but it's technically two separate sigils. He just smushed them together because it looked cool.
Right. It's just accidental.
And then suddenly it became Zozo and vice versa. But so it's not true. They're not Zozo. They don't worship Zozo. No connection there.
It's Stairway to Heaven, guys, not Highway to Hell.
Dude, I almost feel we should end on that. That was sweet.
You like that?
I did.
Yeah.
So I got to make a note, put in.
Now, if you told me AC/DC had and then I'll be like, okay, that's something. You know.
Now I believe.
Now, those fuckers and those beliefs. Yeah.
So
that's all I got, really. But yeah, that's cool.
Did you enjoy?
Yes, I did. It was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
I
like the history stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, listeners, check the show notes. My strange video will be in there. I'll put the Led Zeppelin 4 cover in there so you can see Jimmy Page's symbol. And don't forget, we are going monthly, so we will see you in December.
Well, for Patreon members, we'll see you this month as well, though.
Thank you, Oscar.
Yeah.
Oscar, please hobble us home.
Hobble away. I saw a movie yesterday that really knocked my socks off. It was just so much fun. I saw a movie called I Know Who Killed Me. Have you heard of that?
I Know Who Killed Me. I think I've heard of it. Or
you might have heard of it.
Yeah.
I know I heard of it, but last I heard of it was the year it came out, which is like 2006, I think.
Oh.
It was during the Lindsay Lohan. It was a Lindsay Lohan movie. That was like completely bombed. It made no money. It made like $1 million or something, not even, you know.
Yeah.
But I remember the poster, things like that, like from back then.
Who Killed Me? Okay.
And I saw it. I rented it, and I saw it because I heard a podcast talking positively about it, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. I never seen it. Missed it that year. I didn't care ever. No one ever talks about it. It has a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Holy shit.
3%. Yeah. So I saw it thinking like, maybe it's not 3%. I mean, what movie really is 3%? Not many. And like, it can't be that bad. 4 stars. It's amazing. It's so good.
I know.
It is fantastic. It is fantastic.
Writing it down, Oscar. I'm writing it down.
It has so much style. It was really hard for you to find it, though. I couldn't even pirate it. I couldn't do anything. You have to buy. I had to rent it through iTunes.
I Know Who Killed Me.
Couldn't do
And
anything because it's not streaming anywhere.
and I wonder if it's just people who, because like everyone hates Lindsay Lohan, right? Like I
Yeah,
wonder,
that was roughly the year they started really hating her.
and it's probably why it's got a low rating if
Yeah,
it's
well,
that good.
that's what the podcast were talking about. Like, yeah, that movie got a bad rap, and they were talking so positively about the movie, so I paused the review and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and I finally did yesterday, and I'm like, I wasn't just surprised that it wasn't bad, but that it was that good. Like, it was so much fun to watch. It's not like, I mean, it's not like super serious, like Signs of the Lambs horror serious, but it's like more like It Follows good. Like it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's a cool premise. I mean, you don't see that often anymore, that kind of premise, even back then.
Huh.
And I'm not gonna ruin anything there. And she's pretty solid in the fucking role, and the serial killer is fucking crazy and kind of unique.
All
Yeah,
right.
some
I'll
good
check
stuff
that
in
out.
that. Some good stuff. Yeah. Um, so I saw that, and I saw something for the first time. I saw all three Black Christmases.
How are they?
They're all good in different ways,
Hmm.
except for the last one. I didn't like the last one. The last one being from 2019, and they're all
Okay.
remakes. They're all remakes. None of them are sequels.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they're all remakes. The first one's from '74, and that was a fun weird movie.
Really?
Yeah, it was a
I've
fun
never
little weird
seen them.
movie. A lot of POV of a faceless serial killer talking to himself,
Huh.
which is kind of creepy and fun, and a lot of different types of kooky characters. But my favorite one is from the 2004 or whatever, and that movie's so much fun. A lot of eye horror. If you like eyeball horror, it's just like 50 eyeballs
Jeez.
fucking dying in that movie. So much fun. That one starts off right away. That was the most fun one I had. It was just like right away, action-packed horror, like fucking crazy. Death, 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 death.
Wow.
So much fun. I like that movie too. And that movie also got bombed.
Wow.
So yeah, watching a lot of that shit.
Yeah, I haven't watched any horror lately, but we started watching Dune.
Oh man.
Man, it's really good so far.
Right?
Like I really like it. I don't know shit about any of it, but
Me either. I didn't know much. I saw the original, the David Lynch movie, but I never read the book.
I see. Yeah, I mean, we didn't finish it because it's like fucking 3 hours, and we're watching it with the kids.
Yeah,
So
it's like 250. Yeah.
yeah, so we paused it maybe with an hour and something left, but that was really good so far. And then
I'm glad you like it. Jason Momoa though is so good in that. He's such a charismatic.
yeah,
Aquaman.
no, he's good. He's good. I don't know what happens to him. He's still running
No,
around killing people.
I'm saying he's in the first half of the movie you saw, so he's very charismatic. He's very cool.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, that. And then we watched a movie called I think it's called Ida Red.
Ida, like the name Ida.
Yeah, it's like with Josh Hartnett.
Huh. Is it new or is it
It's new.
I know he's trying to come back.
Yeah, Josh Hartnett and William Forsythe is in it. It was really good.
Yeah, it is from this year. Oh, he's like in prison or something?
Maybe. I don't know.
No, I just saw like a quick thing and I see him with in the conjugal visit with a phone in his hand. So I don't know. Ida Red Walker may not survive her terminal illness while incarcerated for armed robbery. There you go. She turns to so it's the girl who is there. She turns to her son Wyatt for one last job in China. Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good movie.
Frank Grillo, isn't it?
Oh, that's the other one, Frank Grillo. Yeah, the guy's everywhere now.
He's been everywhere for a while, actually. I'm looking at the director. I haven't seen any of his other movies. He looks like he looks like he owns a. Let me see if you can see his face. I don't know if you can see.
It's all his face is like all white.
Oh, sorry. He just looks like he's like a bartender at a bistro. So it's like an action movie. Is it cool?
Yeah. It was cool. I liked it.
Where'd you see it? Where's it at?
We rented it on Amazon Prime.
Oh, you rented it like money, put money.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw that Edgar Wright's latest movie.
Which one is that?
Last Night in Soho.
Oh yeah.
Saw that.
How was that?
It was good. I liked it. I very liked it. I liked it a lot. We just reviewed it actually, Ross. It's coming out on Wednesday. Yeah, we reviewed it. We both liked it, and so man, it's a trippy movie.
It looks like it. It looks like it.
It's not femme fatale, but it almost is. It's not a revenge movie, but it almost is. It feels like one.
Huh.
But it's much more about this girl and her particular abilities to see the past and it's really weird. And
And
did not
she
expect any of that at all.
doesn't she
'Cause I
kind
don't-
of bounce back between press?
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Katie and Talia went to see it. They said it was good.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Katie took Talia to see it.
I'm surprised. It's pretty bloody.
Is it really? Well,
Yeah.
she's seen pretty much all of it already.
I mean, it'll teach her a lot about, staying away from guys, though. I'll tell you that. So
Good.
that might benefit. A lot of like, it's not like it has anti-man energy, but like, it has a lot of like, careful out there in the streets, bro, kind of energy. Like,
Yeah,
don't just trust anyone.
I want to check it out. They wanted a mommy and daughter date. So Katie's like, oh, do you mind if I take her to see it without you? I'm like, no, go ahead.
You'd be like, I mind, but I'll catch the next one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just bring me home some movie popcorn.
Did they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did. The big bag.
They buy it after, right? After the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the way out.
Because I'm so used to going on the late showing. So everything's closed. Like they don't after, so I would never, like if you had ever asked me, I could never buy it. I'd have to buy it as I'm like before I watch the movie, and I don't know how much of it will last. All right.
Oscar, this is supposed to be a 5-pound bag.
3 pounds later.
Pound and a half.
Yeah.
No, it's not 5 pounds, but
I mean, it's not. It feels like it is. I don't buy them really.
It looks like it. Yeah, I don't know how much it is, but
I literally brought my own chocolates to the theater for that movie. I never buy anything there. I rarely do. What else? Oh my god, you like this one? I met someone because I haven't met her yet, or at all, honestly. There's this girl on Tinder that we started chatting, right? And she's roughly a little younger than me, like 34. And pretty cute. Not like smoking hot, which I wouldn't believe, honestly. So thank God she looks normal. And I just wouldn't trust someone that's super hot. Like, why are you talking to me? Go find some gym rat, or stop, editing your pictures. And we started talking, and they were like, "Oh, can we talk on Instagram?" It's either Instagram or another one. I forgot the other one. Snapchat.
If it's Snapchat, yeah.
There are different red flags depending on where they ask you to, because you always start talking at the Tinder app, and no one wants to stay on there and talk. No one wants to hook up or get to know someone there. Nothing. I mean, unless they're like weird, I guess. But no one stays on there. It always starts like, oh, with the initial stuff, and they're like, oh, can we talk over here instead? I'm like, oh, okay. So if it's there are different red flags. If it's a WhatsApp type or Kick red flag, the red flag there is in my experience is that it is like a fake account or someone that's catfishing, probably a dude in Thailand asking for money. That's what that probably is. If it's Snapchat, they're hookers, but they're probably not in your area. They're probably from California, and they're trying to sell their pictures to you. Their premium account or whatever, If it's Instagram, Instagram is a little better. They still can do all of that stuff. It could still be fake. It could still be all this stuff. But most likely what it is that the bad version, the red flag for Instagram, is that they just want followers on their Instagram.
Oh, I see.
So
weird. It's a weird ecosystem.
It's not an ecosystem. It's not enough to consider it an ecosystem, but if you call it that, sure. So I went on there, obviously I'm wary, and we started talking. We talked for like an evening or two. Like it wasn't like straight, but it wasn't, and until she said to me, like, she mentioned her fucking model cam account.
Uh-oh.
I was like,
red
flag. I'm not right immediately. But I saw, because at that point I was already like following her on Instagram. So like I was seeing her, she didn't look like she looked like a regular person, honestly. She looked like a regular girl, like a single girl.
Yeah.
She didn't look like she had a family or anything, for sure. She definitely looked like she lived alone, but it didn't seem like fishing for anything or trying to charge something. None of it was that kind of, no tags that record that. No, like I'm an accountant, which is secret for a whore or a hooker or trying to sell something. All that accountant means that. If you see accountant anywhere, like I'm an accountant, they're not an accountant, like a real accountant. They're like, that means they charge for their body or whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I got fooled for that for 1 second. I won the count. The first time I read that, I was like, what does that have to do with it? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, shit. Okay, cool. Skip. So she dropped that knowledge, right? She's like, oh yeah, it costs this much, obviously, and like it's a private thing, and that's the only way I can meet people if they're verified through here. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna pay without seeing you first.
Good.
Like that doesn't make sense to me. I would never do that. But at the same time, though, I guess we were having a pleasant enough chat where she's like, we can still talk. I don't care until you decide whether or not you want to ever do it. But I like talking to you, so we can still talk. I'm like, that's weird, but okay. I don't give a shit.
Huh.
I'm up at night. So we still talk every once in a while, not really often. Like not yesterday, not today, but the day before, yeah, I did.
So, wow, that's interesting.
And just chatting. She's clearly alone here. She talks about her family a little bit here and there, like they live somewhere else, some other state. I'm like, what are you doing over here then?
Is she in Chicago?
Yeah, she's in a suburb. I don't remember anymore. Sorry, she told me. I just don't remember.
Huh.
Yeah, in the south. And I overall don't trust anyone from Lombard anymore.
No Lombard.
No, Lombard is a. I mean, what do you know of Lombard? To me, everything about Lombard looks like it's a cesspool.
I don't know anything.
You used to live by Lyle. Lyle and Lombard are like not exactly brothers, but they're like nearby, right?
Are they? I don't know. Could be.
I feel like to get to the city, you would pass by Lombard.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been there or known anyone who's been there or from there.
Anyone that says they're from Lombard, most likely they are strippers or something. For the fucking God. Sort of fucking 9 times out of 10.
Oh my God.
They're trying to do something or get away with something. I'm like, Jesus, shut up. Get away from me. I'm like, I'm lonely, but I'm not that lonely. I'm going to go home now. I'm gonna log out. I'm going to log out now. I don't know why with Lombard. Sometimes Joliet, but not so much.
That's wild. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad I'm not dating in this new world. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yep.
Hopefully I can be One Take Jay and just, put in an intro and an outro.
Who's that? All I've known is 10 Take Jay.
I know lately. I hope it's not going to be like that tonight.
I'm sure it's not.
The Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is going monthly. Going forward for the foreseeable future. Let's start over.
Wait, what happened to One Take Jay?
One Take Jay. Yeah. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, that hurt to actually say that we're going monthly.
Yeah, I can see that.
Dude, no joke, I was a fucking wreck over this today.
No, I imagined that you were. You don't ever have to tell me that you were to know for a fact.
And last night, I pretty much finished around like 1-ish, 1:30 maybe.
Yeah.
I wound up adding more today, so I'm glad I waited. But I contemplated, like, do we just do this now? But you said you were having a rough day at work. You wanted to kill everybody. I never heard from you, so I didn't want to bother you. But
I didn't know you were waiting for me to say something back, because I would have responded. I just didn't know for sure. I was waiting for you.
No, I think your last message was, I'll let you know. I was like, well, what time do you want to record? You're like, I'll let you know. Work is crazy. I want to kill everybody.
Oh, really? I thought I responded to that. I guess
I don't think so, unless I missed it. It's possible.
No. It's possible. That's my fault. I'm a really bad texter.
It's okay. But when you said you wanted to kill everybody, I'm like, yeah, I'll just leave him alone tonight.
Yeah, no, I murdered a few people. I really good stress reliever.
What do you got there, my friend?
I'm drinking the last of my peanut butter mead.
Oh,
empty. Sad empty.
Dude, I would kill for some peanut butter mead right now.
You don't have any?
I think I have Viking Blit. But I can't drink anyway because I'm fucking gonna be talking, so that's all right.
Oh, but you drank and talked before.
You're right. I'll be back.
Wow, that took nothing to get you to.
You're a horrible influence, Oscar.
Right.
Because I've had it and it was terrible.
Oh, have you ever? I mean, this is off the left field, Katie. Um, is have you seen the latest Paranormal Activity? I didn't even know they made a new one.
Yes, I did. Sorry, next of
I didn't know
kin.
they made a new one until like recently. I don't know. Someone told me.
That's right. I did watch that movie, and we liked it overall. It's like the best made
Oh,
quality.
you mean because of right quality, like the money. So
Right, the money was there. They had
I
cool.
mean, they're all very low budget movies anyway.
So
Like, they're
this was,
meant to be. They're meant to be.
yeah, this was definitely, I think, the best produced or film made. Whatever. Does it have anything to do with the paranormal activity world? I don't fucking get it. If it does, I think that someone
I
just
mean,
bought.
who even remembers the plot anymore?
Yeah, right.
But, like, really though, I mean, like, I can't remember for the life of me. I was into those movies as much as you were. I think back then, right?
Yeah, I
I mean,
liked it.
they were huge movies. The
Yeah.
first one, the first two, three. I saw the first three in theaters, and after that, I stopped watching them in theaters, and I would watch them here and there. But there's been like four others. I'm like, I missed like two or three of them because I
Yeah.
know I've seen like I saw the Mexican Family one.
That's the last one I saw. I
That's
think.
the last one I saw. I think there's another one in between the latest one and that one. I think
Oh,
there is.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they even follow any plot anymore.
I don't think so. I think someone paid a lot of money for the name, and they're like, "Guys, we got to do something with this name. Let's get a movie out there."
Yeah. You know, it's pretty easy to think of something relating to the character of the first three or two or whatever.
You would think.
But
this has nothing to do with that storyline at all. Nothing at all.
Yeah, because I like watching. I like watching series, especially like dumb series just to background watch.
Yeah.
And I've seen. I mean, in the last 4 years, I've seen the Freddy Kruegers, I've seen the Jasons, I've seen the Halloweens, I've seen the Hellraisers, I've seen a lot of them already. And I don't want to go to Leprechaun, so
No.
I'd rather go to maybe Paranormal Activity. Might be a fun one. I saw the Final Destinations, which are a lot of fun.
Do the Chuckies and then start watching
Chucky's.
the Chucky TV series. It's not too bad.
Oh, it's not. What is it? Is it R-rated?
I mean, it's on. I don't know if it's FX or it's on one of those channels.
Did you hear about Y the Last Man?
Hmm?
Did you hear about a show called Y the Last Man?
Oh, no.
Have you heard of Y the Last Man as a property?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe you won't get the hype, but there's awesome, super great comic book series, American comic book series called Y the Last Man. Why the letter Y? Not like why is this?
Yeah.
Y the Last Man is a post-apocalyptic. Not really. I guess it is. Thing where like everyone with a Y chromosome for some reason dies. So every man on Earth dies. Every single man, including chimpanzees, all male chimps, things like that. Like any Y chromosome organism gets killed for some reason. So only the women, right, left over. And except for one person, one immune man, Y the Last Man. And it's about his exploits, living in this now newly day one post-apocalyptic world scenario.
Wow.
And it's a very cool concept. I never finished. It's a done comic book. It made a lot of issues, but it's done. It's like Walking Dead. It's not as long as Walking Dead. It's like half of that, I guess, but it's still pretty long. But it's done. And I read of it. I read like the first 4 volumes and shit. It was amazing. And they made a show on either FX or I think it's FX. It is FX.
Okay.
And I heard great things about it. I heard it was made so well. It kind of has a different take on it and all this stuff. I'm like, really? It sounds better. And then it got canceled right away because it's too much of a reminder of pandemic.
Are you serious?
Well, no, they didn't say it like that, but no one was really watching this awesome show because it was too much like the harrowing nature of, I mean, it's bad timing, basically.
Damn, that sucks. All right, so I won't even start it then.
I mean, yeah, well, you mean because it doesn't end?
Right.
Yeah, I still want to see it though, but it does suck though.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't get to see one episode either because it's on Hulu, right? FX on Hulu, but I need to once I get a little more money, when I'm more secure about it, I'll get my own Hulu account without commercials because I can't deal with commercials, man. I haven't watched so many shows and movies because just shows because of that, for that reason only.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I get it.
Yeah, it's just so annoying. I find it so unbearably annoying. I'm like, how did I deal with this day in, day out in the 90s and early 2000s? I don't know how I dealt with it. Well, because we had to, I guess. But fun times.
Nice.
I would like to make sure that I want to see that, make sure that podcasting is still kind of fun for you. So,
It is.
well, you know, I don't want to see. I mean, right now it's. I mean, not that podcasting is fun. I mean, the research is what really you're worried about. The time for it, I get it, but still, it's part of the same thing. Without one, there is no other. Um, maybe now that we have maybe a little more time, not to say that we should take advantage like crazy. Maybe once in a while we could still do some movie reviews because that requires just nothing but watching a movie, and you watch
Oh yeah, I would love to.
countless movies a
Yeah,
week. Maybe we could do that more, a little more regular, not for the show, like maybe for my show, but just for the fun of it. You know,
it could be for your show, and it could be a bonus release for Patreon or
right?
something.
I'm not saying we don't have to not married to it, but every once, you know, or semi whatever, we can still do some of that.
Oh,
It'd be fun
dude,
to do.
I'm totally down for it. That watch parties, maybe I can finally join you on Twitch, stuff like that. I'm all down for it. It's just the
Yeah.
endless hours of research.
Mm-hmm,
It's it got to me, man.
It's not important.
Totally. So far,
Yeah.
I'm into it so far. I didn't think I was gonna like it, man.
Yeah,
When Katie
I'm
put
glad
it on,
I'm
I'm
glad you
like,
did.
but I was hooked right
Uh,
away.
That's funny.
Javier Depardem,
Javier Bardem.
Bardem being
I don't know
one
why
of
you gave him extra letters.
yeah. What did I do?
I don't know. It's funny.
He
I
was
think you think of Gerard Depardieu.
there you go.
Nice.
But yeah, his character was great. For 5 minutes you saw
For the
him.
5 minutes you see him in, yeah.
He's
you see him again later on. So
cool.
Yeah.
But he spits on the floor, and everyone's like, "Motherfucker!" And then,
right, and he's like, "Oh no, he's exchanging." That's a big deal in a sand world,
right? The moisture, right?
right?
But
Like,
he's
oh
like,
my god, that's kind of cool.
"I'm done talking now. I have nothing." Or whatever he said when he
Yeah,
ended,
right.
it was hilarious. It was great.
It was good. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
I'm
know
into
when you
it.
finish it, and I don't know, we'll set up some time if you want some evening when you're not, when it's all cool and chill. You don't have to do too much, and
Oh
maybe
yeah,
we'll do something. We'll bang something out.
that would be cool, man, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for getting together with me this kind of last minute like this.
Yeah. No. It's fine. Yesterday I recorded with Roth. Tomorrow I'm gonna finish recording with him.
Okay. Oh, you guys do it in two settings usually.
No, we were gonna do it. Yes. So we were gonna do it all yesterday, but he couldn't see the last duel until today.
Okay.
So yeah, we had to wait on him. So
Have you seen what is it? The Gambler? The
card counter.
have you seen it?
Man, I know you well. The card counter.
Was it good?
I saw it yesterday. Funny enough that you mentioned that. I saw it yesterday.
Really? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it, but it's not at all about gambling. Not to say that there isn't card playing or card counting. There is that. But it is by far, it's not like it's not the Hustler of card counting. It's not
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a good poker movie. It's not Rounders of card counting.
I do like that movie.
I know you like that movie. It's not those kind of movies. You know what I mean? It's in it. It's a part of it for sure, but it's a B plot compared to like what's going on. For sure. The main character is I mean, if anything, we talked about kind of what it's about a little bit in one of our shows. It's about Oscar Isaac plays is obviously this card counter who in prison taught himself how to count cards. Sorry. And do kind of tricks with it, I guess. Not a magician style, but like just know the cards, And he meets his boy, or this boy meets him really in this police expo where he's whatever for some casino. And they get like, it's not about them two, it is about them two, but it isn't like a friendship. It isn't like, oh my god, is he gonna save him? No, it's like it's a little more serious than that. It's a little more complicated. But you find out that the history of this guy, this Oscar Isaac, is that he went to prison because he was a soldier in the early 2000s in the war against Iraq and Afghanistan and all that. And he was one of the soldiers that was photographed torturing people in Abu Ghraib prison.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And we just talked about Abu Ghraib with Abu Tobar.
Thank you.
And so it reminded me of that. And they show some graphic stuff for sure about his like flashback to that.
I mean, fuck, that came out of nowhere. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. Like when it came up, I'm like, what is this? What am I watching? I'm like, oh, and then I put it together. I'm like, holy shit, he wasn't part of that. Yeah, I'm like, and then everyone who got photographed went to prison to save face for all the higher ups. But obviously, anyone who wasn't photographed but still responsible did not go to prison. And I guess that's where it gets like, oh, okay, the story's about this now.
So
or has been about that.
It's not a true story, right? This is
No, I don't think so. Maybe it
Okay.
is in parts, but it's all fiction as far as I know.
okay.
Yeah, the guy who wrote it did the right. The only reason I saw it is because the writer director, I forget his name though, which I shouldn't forget. He wrote some pretty prominent filmmaking books, like
Oh.
books about film and critiquing or the eye of film or making movies. That's like you teach it in class kind of
Oh
shit.
wow.
Like a pretty prominent guy, and he famously wrote Taxi Driver.
Oh shit.
He wrote Taxi Driver. That's the writer of Taxi Driver.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And also other Scorsese stuff. He co-wrote with him a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But yeah, he's famous for that. And for me, for making my top 10 movies of the decade, a few years ago, he did a movie called with Ethan Hawke, where he plays a priest, First Reformed.
Oh.
He did that movie. I love that movie. That movie, oh, it almost scares me how insane that movie goes.
First Reformed, writing it down, Oscar.
But it's not a horror movie. It's just a drama.
Oh,
but
that's
it's like
fine.
such a good drama. Man, that ending. I beg you not to do this immediately.
Please do. Okay. First Reformed. Okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Who Killed Me and First Reformed are on my list.
Oh yes, those are two very opposite movies. But yes, watch them. Well, I mean the batteries are still okay. They're not. They definitely have diminished. But it's the cable that's fucking me up. Like I have to keep an eye on it. It'll just stop working. It'll just stop charging. I'm like, fuck you. I woke up. Yeah, I charge it overnight, right? When I go to bed.
Yeah.
I wake up and it's not even halfway through. I'm like, oh, I have to go to work, bro.
Then your day is not going to be a good day.
Right.
Exactly. I know. First world, like you said, first world problems.
First world problems. Yeah. All right, sorry. Now, are you ready for real?
Yeah, I'm good. Let me get another hit and a drink of water.
Then you're not ready.